November sewer subcommittee meeting to order, and I'd like to announce that I'm hoping that this is our last sewer subcommittee. I told Matt that we probably won't have normal meetings in December, and we probably don't need this committee to be reformed in January, although any of the sewer project information can then be funneled through Public Works is my plan in the future. Hopefully, Ray is going to tell us that the project is on target and we're going to get it running by the end of the year, and we don't need to continue on this path. But I certainly thank everybody on the committee. This has been a long road. We started with just rough ideas on this project, and it's come a long way. So I think we're finally nearing the end. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ray and let us give him an update.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, it's a fairly short update. So all the construction basically is in place as far as infrastructure, all the pump stations and electrical generators and so forth. The last hurdle that we're dealing with is getting power from National Grid and NYSEG, as well as communications from Verizon. So each one of these pump stations, unlike the other older pump stations, each one of the new pump stations has a dialer. So in case of an emergency or an alarm, a message is actually sent out to Brian or to, up to, I think, as many as 6 different telephones to basically warn or communicate that there's an issue at that particular pump station. And so we're just working with the utility companies to get that connected at this point. There was a item with respect to easements. So on 2 of the pump stations, there were easements that were required. That's the one at Dutch Village, as well as the one that was near Humane Society Road. So we were waiting for National Grid for the longest period of time to get those. And so the county also had some revisions. The revisions have been made. They're back in the county's hands. So we just need to get those signatures from those owners. So Rob, in case I have a pretty good contact with the owners of Dutch Village because they had contacted me previously, just wondering what the overall status was. So if you have that in final form, I could send that over to them for signature, at least on Dutch Village.
Okay, I'll check on that when I'm back in the office tomorrow and circle back to you on it.
Excellent. Appreciate it. So that's the last one as far as, the last items as far as the coordination, because once that is done, then those 2 pump stations can be started up. And we can, get the whole system up and running. Currently, the other 2 pump stations, so what's known as leg number 2, and that's the leg where it starts at the existing wastewater treatment plant in the Commerce Park, as well as leg number 2 pump station. That's the pump station that's up by the intersection of Route 66 and 9H by the mobile station. Both of those are scheduled for startup on December 7th and December 8th. So again, they'll start up the generators at that time as well as the pump stations, and we'll have representatives of the pump stations and generator there to run through everything with Brian and his crew, as well as anyone from Greenport that's available. And I think, Brian, you were also going to have perhaps Mr. Harkins there. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what I was going to plan, just to have him there just in case, because he's a fallback for us.
Yeah.
And he's the closest, so yep. I think he's doing the work already for us, so it'd be wise probably to get him up to speed on everything.
Yeah, and he's worked on those type of pump stations in the past, so he does have a familiarity with them. So that will be helpful.
Yeah.
So again, that's December 7th, 8th. I'm still waiting for an exact time. So once I get that, either myself or Mark Long from our office will reach out to you, Brian, to let you know about that. Okay. So that's kind of where we stand. So once that is, once we were able to do the startups on those, then everything can be turned over to the new system. We hope that, and again, we are scheduled that everything still can occur before the end of the year for that. And then the contractor would come back probably, over the winter months and perhaps into the spring and do the decommissioning of the existing system. So right now we still are on track to get everything done. Jim, you had a question?
Yeah, Ray, I just was wondering, what kind of redundancy do we have if one of these pumps go down? Like, how long do we have before it really starts backing up on you or something?
Sure. So actually, each pump station has two pumps. So in case there is a single pump failure, there is a redundancy as far as the pump station itself, and those pumps alternate. So again, one turns on, the next time it cycles through, the next one turns on, and so forth. So there's redundancy there for those pumps. Then obviously, in case of an electrical outage, we do have the generator as well.
Right.
The nice thing, again, if there's a generator failure, if there's a pump failure, if there's some sort of failure in that mode, an alarm will go off and it will notify Brian. So again, it's not as though if something happens at night, nobody's going to know about it. We will know about it and be able to check on it and make an assumption of what's going to take place next. As far as the capacity, generally speaking, at the current rate, as far as the flow coming into the system, it would back up into that pump station. And we have approximately 8 hours of storage within the pump station itself.
So
At full build out, obviously it would be much less than that. But in most instances, when a pump station does fail, or if there is a major failure at a pump station, one of the first things to do is to get someone like McCag or someone of that nature, that as far as a septic company, with a hauler, so that way it could be pumped and hauled down to this treatment plant and then just shuttling back and forth until a repair is made.
So do you think, I know with some of the stuff I got, do you think it's worth it to have, I don't know if the motors are all the same, but do you think it's worth it to have a spare motor and pump assembly? Because I know the way parts are right now, trying to get anything, is that something that we should keep on hand, or Brian should have, so that if something does go down, we don't have to be stuck without, having a part?
Yeah. So if there are any, belts or anything like that, we do have spare belts and that sort of thing. Anything of that type of a nature, there are supplies.
Hey, to have a motor though, or not really?
Not really, because quite honestly, each pump station is slightly different because of the head conditions. So
Okay.
they're not all exactly the same. So it really doesn't. And again, the one nice thing is that, again, there is duplicity. There is redundancy as far as the pumps, because each pump station does have a separate pump motor in case one fails. It would automatically, and so that's an automatic switchover as well. So again, in case one pump does fail, the water level would rise within the pump station. It would then trigger the next pump, what's known as the lag pump, to kick on. At the same time, it would send out an alarm as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. So as far as construction, they were just working on some of the minor punch list items that we have as well. So all in all, right now, they're in very good shape as far as the overall construction, including being able to get all of the restoration pretty much finished as well. I reached out to EFC and coordinated with Ron Caponero the unpaid invoices that had previously not been paid. Again, I think I mentioned at the last meeting that any issues were cleared up with EFC as far as past items, and I think it was a total of about $75,000 that had not been paid. We had requested and did receive copies of those invoices that were not paid from EFC. I submitted those back to Ron, and then Ron has submitted for reimbursement to EFC again. Unfortunately, EFC would not automatically process those. They wanted a new resubmission. So Ron's gone ahead and he's taken care of that.
Hippie's got a question?
Yeah, Ray, a couple questions here. So is the line from the airport down to the old plant, is that installed already?
Yes, it is.
Is that activated right now?
It is not activated as of yet. We're just waiting for power, but it is in line and it's ready to go. And it's one of the things that we have identified is that if that particular station obtains power and we have the communications there prior to the other stations, we can turn that on at any time. And I've already run that past New York State DEC, and they're okay with that as well, because that would simply go to the existing wastewater plant and go through that. And again, we're talking a minor amount of water, wastewater that would generate.
And does our facilities for the training center, is that hooked into the line also?
Yes, that's currently in the Commerce Park, that training center. Yes, that currently already is hooked into the system.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, absolutely. So other than that, that's the update that I have regarding construction. And I also have an update for Whittier, but I was just wondering in case there are any other questions regarding the system as a whole. No? Okay. So regarding Whittier, I did receive an updated plan from, I call them Whittier, but my apologies, Ghent Rehab. It's just out of habit that I call them Whittier. But Ghent Rehab, I did receive a updated plan from Pat Prendergast, the facilities engineer, that shows a grinder in line on their property that comes off of the main service line out of their building. So again, previously they had shown it inside of the collection system of the county, which I did not like. So they've gone ahead and they've confirmed that they are able to put it onto their property to serve that particular building. They are awaiting information as far as lead time and cost from a local contractor, Jamie McCagg. I've actually spoke to Jamie today on an unrelated item and had the opportunity to ask him, and he says he hopes to have that information by Friday. So as soon as I get that information, by all means, I'll pass that schedule information along. But the owner has indicated that they're ready, willing, and able to move forward. Pat is also providing not a grinder, but a bar screen for the other facility, which is the assisted living, or no, excuse me, the not the assisted living, but the dialysis center that they have. So once that design comes in, that's a little less critical because most of what we were getting was actually coming from Ghent Rehab. So, yes, Kathy?
So the dialysis center, it's behind it?
Yes,
That's
that's the one behind
okay.
it, correct.
Right, that is the assisted living back there.
Oh, my apologies, yeah.
That
okay.
is, it was the dialysis and the sleep study center, and they moved across the street. So
Okay.
that is the assisted living back there.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, so again, we're doing that just as a precaution. We, again, believe that most of the debris that we've been receiving down at the sewer plant has actually been coming from the Ghent Rehab. So again, once I get that information, I'll pass that information along.
I have one more question.
Yes.
How bad have they been, Brian?
We only had this month, just the 17th, I think it was last Wednesday, but both pumps were clogged. So something probably let loose and clogged them. On another note, Ray, about the fill that we were going to use, they hauled at the airport. They hauled it away. They had a second spot, so you don't have to, just in case you were banking on a little extra, we don't have nothing there to give.
Okay.
Look at somewhere else.
All right. I'll let the contractor know.
All right. Thanks.
Yep. So keep it in mind, Brian, in case you're doing anything else out, at the airport. I thought you were doing some other work perhaps, but again, if you need to get rid of some material, they could use some. So again, just keep that in mind if something else should happen to come up.
Okay.
Also, as far as an update, that's all I have at this point. As far as the construction of the project, as well as the Ghent Rehab facility.
So Ray, once we're online, do we need to have EFC come do an inspection?
Yeah, EFC would come down. We need to notify both EFC as well as New York State DEC of the anticipated switchover date. And as part of that, I need to provide certification to both entities. They would probably come down and do a follow-up. Normally, they'll allow us to go online, especially something like this where it's a conveyance system versus a treatment. So then they'll do a follow-up final inspection prior to any final payments, including, releasing retainage to contractors and so forth.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. Well, we're excited to see this project get online and get moved behind us.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's been a long time coming for the county, and I think, again, I think we're still on track to get it up and running before the end of the year.
Kathy can get some checks coming into Greenport. She'll be okay with that.
Yeah, the next thing would be is any, as things move forward as far as interest of people tying in. So I know Stewart's is interested. They're supposed to be they've made a formal request, excuse me. But then they need to make a formal submission as far as plans and information on the anticipated flows and so forth. So once that takes place, then again, that would probably go to DPW and then obviously town of Greenport as well.
Okay.
Very
May I
good.
ask a question?
Certainly.
Speaking of tying in, when, if the Office of the Aging puts a kitchen in there, will all that be outletted into your sewage system, or will you have like a, gray water, discharging elsewhere, or is it all required to go?
That's the intent. So the intent is again, whether right now I know that there's further discussion as far as an adjacent parcel perhaps, but the intent is for it to tie into the actual Commerce Center existing wastewater collection system, as well as its water system. So it's going to gain utilities, water and sewer from the Commerce Center, and potentially gas through the Commerce Center as well. So yes, that is the case.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, but keep in mind, we would require that, a grease trap would have to be installed prior to it discharging into that system just to collect any greases, so it doesn't get clogged into the pump stations.
Even that other piece of property, right? That
Yes, correct. Even on the other piece, correct.
thank
Yeah,
you.
either one, we would still do that pre-treatment because it's a food preparation facility.
The other thing, Ray, that we should talk about, I don't know if PJ knows for sure. I think I got an idea. We're getting really close to being ready to do the 911 backup off of the fire training center, which was originally part of that plan, and that is proposed to have an additional bathroom in it. And I don't know, talking to the contractors, I'm not sure what the architect expected us to do, but I think that we're going to tie that directly into the system rather than run it to the other end of the building. But that's pretty easy to do because it's going to be right there. So
Yeah, I think there's some manholes down by the cul-de-sac, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So even if you had to tie it into that area, that's
Yeah.
still on the property, so it could be done.
it's just another tap, but it's just a bathroom. It's nothing, no flow of any sort.
Okay.
Anybody else? I see Sarah joined late. Sarah, do you have any questions for Ray on the sewer project?
Kippy, did you have your hand up? I'm sorry.
I hit it by mistake. You're good.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sarah, did you have any questions?
No, I was just listening. I missed the first part, so
Okay.
computer problems today.
Just to give you a quick update, Sarah, we're about ready to, the construction is done. We're trying to get power and utility communications to all the sites so that we can fire it all up. But somewhere around the end of the year here, we should be ready to turn it on and convey waste. So,
And Sarah, you've been elected to buy the champagne because you came to the meeting late.
I have a couple of bottles in the fridge already.
Oh, boy.
there you go.
We'll be right over.
Okay. Is there any other questions for the sewer subcommittee? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the final sewer subcommittee meeting.
Motion.
So move. Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Hi.
Thank you. See you at 5 o'clock.
See you later.
Okay.
Call the November Public Works meeting to order. And I know we're going a little bit out of sequence here, but I have reasons for that. First, a couple months ago, this committee authorized, the full board authorized us to look for and seek out a commissioner of public works. We have done that, and we have a resolution before us tonight that was approved by the Budget Salary Committee to appoint Ray Jurkowski as the Commissioner of Public Works. And for anybody that hasn't worked with Ray or doesn't know Ray, I think this is going to be a wonderful asset to the county. Ray will be on the call later. That's why I asked him to come in late. I wanted to do this first in case anybody had any questions. But there's a project that Ray's been working on, and I asked him to present later in the meeting for us. But right now, we have a resolution before us to appoint the Commissioner of Public Works. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that, or like to make a motion?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
If there's any questions, Ray will be on later, but we do look forward to working with Ray, and I think the department heads can all speak to that too. I've spoke to a number of them, and we've got a lot of projects waiting for him once he gets them signed on. So.
Hey, Ron, I have a question.
Certainly, yep.
Have we ever had a Commissioner of Public Works before?
Yes, we did. Dave Robinson was our last Commissioner of Public Works. It left in, I think, 2016. And at that time, we had a number of seasoned department heads that we decided to try and go it on our own for a while. But with the passing of Dean Knox, it became evident that not only did we need to replace Dean, as Dean was a county engineer in title, but he wasn't an actual engineer, didn't hold a PE degree. And the Commissioner of Public Works position was required by job title to hold to be a licensed PE, somebody that could benefit the county all the way around. So that's why we decided to replace the Public Works Commissioner and sought out somebody, and we have a great applicant.
I think it's a great move.
Thank you. I know Donnell was on the interview team, and I think we're all impressed to go work with him. So. All right, if there's nothing else, we'll go to solid waste.
Okay, projects that we're working on, the solid waste master plan, we're waiting for the draft. It should be received this week. We're going to review it and make any changes to it, and we are still on the schedule that they had originally proposed. The top load building, the contractors had a issue finding material. The original vendor was not able to get what they had promised. So he did find another vendor. Crawford is reviewing the specs to make sure that the material is acceptable, and we're looking for a 2022 construction start in the spring. Recycling permits, the 22 recycling permits will be going out over the next 2 weeks. A lot of the clerks have already received them, and they will be for sale on December 6th. Food scrap collection, the bins are set at Chatham and Copic stations. The program's going actually pretty good. The material is clean. We're finding that a lot of residents are already backyard composting, at least in these two areas. So we'll be ramping up some educational campaign over the next few weeks. Did an interview with the Columbia paper that'll be coming out shortly. And then we'll start expanding it to the rest of the stations. Paint care. We've been working with DEC on this program for the last 2 years. They have postponed the start date twice already. Now we're looking at May of 22. We've attended a couple webinars just to address some of the issues. And unfortunately, we really don't have anything to report back to the committee yet. We had hoped by now we'd be signing contracts with them, but there are some issues that still need to be worked out. So hopefully in January, we'll have something more to report. Resolutions before the committee, I actually have two. The first one is authorization to fill one part-time laborer's position in the solid waste department, and this position is vacant due to a resignation.
Move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, and the second resolution we have is the Columbia County Solid Waste Department, in coordination with the Climate Smart Task Force, is reintroducing the recycling initiatives in our municipal buildings. Whereas part of the certification process for the Board of Supervisors to support the recycling initiatives and the recommended actions by the Climate Smart Task Force, this resolution needs to be submitted so we can get the credits. And the program has been up and running for a few months now.
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And again, this is a project that we've already implemented, and this resolution is authorizing us to do it so that we can get credit for it at the State Climate Smart program. Is that right, Jolene?
That is correct. And that's all I have for the committee.
Jolene, just a quick question. Is the master plan the renovation plan that you described earlier in the year?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Well, this is the 10-year master plan for the county. It's a roadmap to where we're going in the next 10 years for the solid waste department.
Okay. But the renovation plan, where does that stand? I know you
We're-
were awaiting funding for that.
Well, that
Yeah.
is, yeah, I can speak to that. That is in the budget, and we will be voting on that in December. So we do have that money budgeted, and those plans will be developed as the budget gets approved.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can we get my guys a lunchroom up here in Chatham?
Can you add more money to my budget?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Wait, do I have the authority to say that? I don't believe I do, but we'll try.
Okay, thank you.
We just send them down to the Chatham Town Hall for lunch, that's all, you know?
Yeah, it's not too far away, is it?
So,
Jolene, I had one question about the paint care thing. When I was at the NISAC conference, they talked about really trying to pressure paint retailers to have that. Is there any further discussion of that? Or are they going to leave it on the county?
No, actually, they have been working with a number of retail outlets. I'm not sure about the big stores like Lowe's and Home Depot. They're kind of being very vague when they speak of that. In December, Wendy and I will be setting up a meeting to talk to the paint care representative one-on-one instead of doing it in a webinar type setting. A number of issues that we brought forward primarily was contamination. I have no problem setting up at one of our stations a collection area. I think it would be great to have a year-round collection. But our concern here is that if we get a contaminated product, who's going to be liable for it? And at what point, when you're dealing with hazardous waste, you're always responsible for the material that you collect. Even 20 years later, if a facility gets cited and your material was there and manifested, they come back on you. So my concern is we collect paint, one of the paint cans is contaminated, who's on the hook for that? And how much is it going to cost? And nobody had an answer to that question. So until we're comfortable with the program and the guidelines, I think right now, if they can't answer those questions, we'll keep it as part of the household hazardous waste collection event until they formalize or at least, have answers to the questions that we have on the county level.
Those are sound concerns. I appreciate it.
No problem.
and Donnell, just to follow up on that, one of the webinars that I sat through with DEC, and I thought too in the beginning that this was all going to be put on the big box stores, like Lowe's and Home Depot, to be part of that, like it was with motor oil. If you sold motor oil, you had to take it back. And DEC said at that meeting that, yeah, well, we've talked to them and they're not too interested in that. Well, I know they're not too interested in it, but they said it'd be better if the county did it. Well, of course it would, but where's the funding, And then all the questions that Jolene has are great.
Yeah, and they were talking about doing it with rugs too, but that's another monstrosity to deal with, I guess.
Correct.
All right, if there's nothing else for Jolene, we'll move on to highway.
Thank you, Jolene.
Thank you.
How's everybody doing?
It's snowing up here, Tony.
I don't want to know about it. That's one of the things that's not in my report tonight. We have not done any snow and ice control yet this year, so that's a good thing. Knock on wood. We have been erecting snow fence, hauling and stockpiling sand and salt. Usual cleaning ditches, clearing the brush, driveway pipe installations. We've believe it or not, we've caught up. with all the summer projects. We had a backlog of well over 30 property owners that are waiting for driveway pipes, and I believe we have caught up on just about all of those. Continuing our shoulder backup on all of our newly paved roads. Crews will be moving to the last road tomorrow. Get that all done. That'll complete that. We completed mowing all the county roadways, landfills, and the airport for the year. Completed the last 4.8 miles of hot mix paving on County Route 10 in the town of Livingston. And we completed the final 15.63 miles of center line and edge line pavement marking. Those were the last 15 miles on all the newly paved roads that they came back and did. We also completed guide rail installation on County Route 10 in Livingston, the culvert that we extended, and County Route 5 in New Lebanon, and that was for a culvert that we extended earlier in the year. Before I move on to the personnel update, I do have a breakdown of the paving and road construction projects that I included in this. For the year, we completed 36.35 miles of shoulder reconstruction. And you can see the breakdown there by road and town. We completed 4.77 miles of hot in place recycling. We completed 15.77 miles of hot mix paving. Several drainage improvements. We replaced or repaired approximately 800 feet of cross culverts and installed 3,250 feet of under drain and put in approximately 15 catch basins. Now, all this work, this drainage work, was all on these roads that we paved this year. Some of that drainage work was also done last year, but this is just the work that we completed this year. It was a tough year to do, weather-wise, vendor-wise, contractor-wise, manpower-wise. We did do our November chip submission. We submitted for $3,375,235, and that'll be for the December 15th payment. And that's out of the $4.769 million that we had in chips. A couple of those projects that were completed late will go into the March submission, which is also comes out of this year's CHIPS money, but it's the last submission for this year. That'll be in March. So we completed approximately $4,514,000 worth of road work this year out of CHIPS. So, which is pretty good considering the amount of money we have. We're probably going to only end up with about $250,000 or so in rollover that we can use next year. So I was a little unsure that we were going to be able to spend that money. It's more money than we've really ever had. And a lot of the counties were dealing with the same thing, trying to spend a lot of money in a short period of time with all the other problems that came around with it in terms of contractors and personnel and everything else. So it all kind of came together at the end. Mother Nature cooperated right there at the very end, so I'm happy about that. On to personnel update. Anybody got any questions on any of the road projects before I move on? Okay, good. Personnel, we hired two. Actually, I just hired another one today, pending a drug test. So we've hired 3 seasonal laborers, which makes 4 total so far out of the 6 positions. We have 1 employee that's still out on extended sick leave, and we hired 1 full-time motor equipment operator. We have 1 motor equipment operator out on workers' comp, and 1 motor equipment operator that has resigned. And resolutions. First one's authorization to fill 1 position of road foreman and any vacancies created therefrom in the highway department upon the retirement of the present road foreman at the 2022 grade 15 base salary of $55,293 contingent upon the length of the county service to the appointee. Whereas the position will become vacant due to retirement on January 4th, 2022.
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Second and last one's authorization to fill 1 budgeted vacant position of motor equipment operator 2 in the highway department And any vacancies therefrom at the 2021 grade 12C base salary of $47,005, contingent upon the years of service of county service of the appointee. And this is vacant due to a resignation.
Move it.
Second,
I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Carried. Go.
That's all I have for highway. Get engineering here. Want to go right into engineering? Yes. Okay, we'll start with the federal aid bridge and highway project updates. County Route 25 Fitting Creek. It's the Stockport Bridge replacement. Closeout process is ongoing. Independent consultant audit was completed last week, and consulting engineering firm is still compiling necessary paperwork for project closeout. Project costs for this bridge will be reimbursed by federal funding 80%, New York State funding 15%, and Columbia County funding 5%. County Route 18 Fish and Game. The final plan specs and estimates for this project have been sent out to the New York State DOT and the Federal Highway and the county for their final review and comments. Final right-of-way acquisition closing. National Grid has begun the utility pole relocation. The project is still on track to let bids for construction in winter 2021, spring 2022. County Route 7A, Copic Hamlet reconstruction. GPI has completed all field topographic survey work for this project and is currently working on design and potential right-of-way and or permanent easement mapping. Project is still on target for construction during 2023. Bridge New York, County Route 21, tributary to the Acquawamic Creek in Hillsdale. All construction work on a new bridge carrying Columbia County Route 21 over tributary of Acquawamic Creek in the northwest corner of the town of Hillsdale was completed November 2020. The closeout paperwork has been received by this office. And are awaiting completion of the consultant audit for final submission to New York State DOT. This Bridge in New York project is funded by approximately 75% New York State, 25% county. Valley View Road, Bash Fish Brook, final design plans are expected soon for the county and New York State DOT review and approval. Construction bids are expected to be let this winter with construction starting in spring, early summer 2022. Locally funded bridge program. Continuing to review the 2020-2021 DOT inspection reports, seasonal maintenance and repair work, and future capital bridge replacement rehab using local funds and any other available funding sources. Hollowville Bridge, Melville Paper Bridge project closeout continues. West Taconic Bridge, Woodward Bridge, bearings were delivered, floor beams are in place, and the bridge deck was expected to be poured last Friday, 11/19. Depending upon curing times and the weather, we anticipate a mid-December opening of this bridge with punch list items to be completed in spring 2022. Final paving, diamond grinding, resealing the bridge deck, topsoil seeding, and tree plantings are some of the items that will be addressed. 2021 multi-bridge element specific repair and improvement contract, ongoing and generally on time. One of the bridge projects, clearing brush mature trees from a gravel bar, was postponed until next spring due to New York State DOT stream permitting issues. Request for proposals for future bridge project designs. Once the future bridge projects have been selected, an RFP for consultant design services will be advertised hopefully by midwinter. 2022 multi-bridge element specific repair contracts. The engineering department has selected 4 to 5 bridges for rehab under the 2022 multi-bridge contract. B&L is reviewing the choices made and will prepare design proposals for next year's projects. Stuyvesant Falls Bridge, we have been notified by New York State DOT that a level 1 rating must be performed for load posting on this bridge due to defects discovered during the annual inspection. Last time a level 1 rating was performed, 2015-16, it cost about $70,000 and included bridge being closed during the day for about a week. During a conversation with the previous consulting engineer, Ryan Biggs, it was agreed that the new inspection would cover the areas the state inspectors called out, as opposed to a repeat full-scale inspection, which hopefully will reduce the cost by quite a bit. Ryan Biggs is reviewing the DOT inspection and yellow flags, and will submit an estimate for the load rating in the next few weeks, which I believe we have tonight, correct, Ron?
Yes, we do, yes. Just came in today, so I brought that to committee too.
County Route 25A road repair, the project was completed and the road reopened on Friday, October 29th. The project, although slightly delayed, was completed under budget. And other engineering division activities include review of the 2020-2021 annual bridge inspection reports, federal New York State Bridge, highway and airport project reimbursements, locally funded bridge program, planning administration, town highway right-of-way investigations layout, processing reduced speed limit requests, quite a few of those, bridge flag report coordination and responses, miscellaneous guide rail drainage, culvert designs, and assistance to the highway. And that's it.
Sherry, do you have that resolution that Barb sent in this afternoon? No, not that one. Next, maybe? Or back? Anyway, I can start to read it as Sherry finds it, but anyway, Barb Body just pulled this together today. You heard about the load warnings that we got on at the Stuyvesant Falls Bridge over here. So she did get a price from Ryan Biggs for $16,700 for performance of a level 1 load rating on the Stuyvesant Falls Bridge, carrying 25 over the Kinderhook Creek. And this is to correct some yellow flags that New York State DOT has issued, and I was hoping we could move that through tonight so they could get them on the schedule.
Ron, that price, has that been put out for bid or how did?
We did it through Ryan Biggs, who had done the contract 2 years ago. Tony
Okay.
can explain that a little bit better, but
What were we looking for, Ron?
so how did we get to Ryan Biggs? Because they had done this project previously, and this is follow-up work on their other project.
Yeah, they did the inspection back in 15 and 16 when they had the flags on the bridge, which is why engineering reached out to them. They're familiar with the project.
I think otherwise, Barb was talking to me before when we did this project, and we spent about $70,000, and they've got the criteria now to come in and address these things for a minimal amount of money compared to going out for another $100,000 project.
Yeah, I believe they're looking to just address these specific flags from the New York State DOT inspection as opposed to inspecting the entire bridge.
Right.
So you're just talking inspection, correct? They're not going to be actually doing repairs. They're just going to.
No, it's an inspection for the load rating.
That's what I.
They're either going
All the strain gauges all over it and loading it up.
So they're either going to come up with a load rating or tell us how we got to repair it.
Okay, I got you. Okay, I'll move that.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Sherry. Sorry that was confusing there. We got things out of sync. I think up next we got Brian with facilities.
Good evening, everybody. Our work schedule, routine monthly building and maintenance, replacing filters and normal routine. We got our sanders and plows and worked on getting our snow blowers ready for winter. Had ordered our salt and delivered and got all the buildings stocked with salt. Let's see here. Both our cooling towers are cleaned and shut down for the season, and we tarp them to keep leaves and rainwater out to help clean it when we open it up. We had to repair a fuel line for the generator at 560. Let's see here. Board of Elections. We had to, with the election, we delivered the machine. So that's 6 days, two guys delivering and picking up machines. Highway, we had some issues with the salt shed door, waiting on a motor. Repaired some lights, and got all their heating units ready to get serviced and ready to go. So we're pretty much set for the winter so far. But normal, toilet clogs, leaky faucets, sinks clogged, the norm. So other than that, it's pretty much it for this month. We had one incident out at the wastewater treatment plant. Both pumps were down, clogged. So, but other than that, it was only one time since last month. So, something might be, they might be doing something different there.
Hey, Brian, did you get the truck bed in yet?
No.
Still on
think
back
that-
order, huh?
Yep.
Jeez.
We're probably looking at, maybe it's gonna be our Christmas present. That's what we're
Yeah.
thinking. So,
Okay.
but yeah, no, we're still waiting on it. I'll have Joe follow up on it again, but let to know it's supposed to be end of December, so we'll see.
Speaking of Christmas presents, there are a lot of people stealing the garbage bag stickers. What did I read? You had to install a security cage.
Oh, well, we did that for up at Solid Waste. Instead, that's what they used to have a lot of their bags, I think, in that area. Now she can actually lock it up, so this way no one can get to it. They're a lot smaller, so that it's a little different than probably what
Imagine
they
they fly
used to
away
do.
much easier than a paper plastic bag would, huh?
Yeah, exactly. The boxes are a little smaller, more than likely. So, so we did that. Took care of that for her. So, but other than that, that's pretty much it.
I have something for Tony. Tony, I just was wondering, I forgot to ask you this, I'm sorry. Where do we stand with the trucks? Are they still tied up yet, all those trucks?
For repairs,
Yeah,
we've gotten a good portion of them back online. We're actually, I think we even actually have a few spares that are operational at this point. So,
okay.
but yeah, we've made good progress over the last week or two in terms of getting everything up. We're full staff, if you will, in terms of frontline plow trucks right now. So
Okay, good.
At the moment, we're good.
Sorry, Brian, I was remembering.
That's fine. It's a good question because like I said, we've been waiting on stuff on our end.
Yeah, that's what got me thinking about it.
Yeah. I have a personnel resolution request due to another resignation. We are requesting to fill one vacant budgeted part-time labor position, grade 11. Salary is $16.51 an hour. To continue the operational needs of the department due to staffing shortages.
I'll move that.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Good luck to you, Brian.
Thank you. And then I'll just give you a quick update on the airport. Right now, like in the maintenance part of it, we had to issue a NOTAM for the real lights on runway 21 or 21. So we had to disconnect it, ship it out to Airport Lighting Company to get fixed. Luckily, it was under warranty. And then they just ship it back and we put it together. This way, the last time if they come on site, it's like $1,500. So if we take it apart ourselves, ship it away, if it's under warranty, everything was free. I just had to pay the shipping. So worked out pretty good. The guy actually was helpful. He showed us how to do it. So, worked out well. So we reconnected it. The NOTAM's released and they're back in business. We repaired some floor tiles in the hangar and our normal weekly and monthly maintenance. Let's see the projects we have going on there. The fuel farm replacement. Monday, the construction began. They were, saw cutting, removing material for the electrical conduit and for the concrete slab. The slab is and Ballard's light poles will be completed this year with the tank and system commissioning to be completed next spring with work resuming at the beginning of March. Beta Technologies update. The contract between Beta and the county is near completion. We had a little hold up regulation from the FAA requiring the vehicle charging station to be 10 feet from the fence. So the new proposal would put the vehicle charging station across the other side of the parking lot. I really didn't think that was going to be a big deal. So instead of having to rework the fence, we're just going to move the charging station. What you got in front of you now, that's just a somewhat of a schedule for the fuel farm, just the progress of it. And then I included a map of the parking lot for that charging station. So basically, if you follow the red line south, that's where it's gonna, the vehicle charging station will be. So right there.
This is the vehicle charging, not the,
The
Predator drone charging station.
yeah, the regular is right next to the plane where that white structure is. That
Okay.
would be the air,
the drone,
airport charger.
yeah, whatever,
So,
yeah.
Well, they just offered to do some vehicle charging stations while they were there, so. they-
Yeah, no, I know that.
The county, but yeah.
Okay.
So once they finalize the contract, they're gonna get it to me and I'll forward it and we'll start this job shortly.
Great.
Good.
So that's all. Anyone got any questions?
All right, if there's no questions for Brian, this last portion of the meeting, I would like to do an executive session. So if I could get a motion to enter into executive session.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, go in executive session, discuss the acquisition of sale of real property.
There we go. Okay, Jim just did it.
No, I'm sorry.
Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
All right.
All right. Give Oswaldo a minute to cut the feed. we need a motion to consider that purchase if you'd like.
Hold on, let me just make sure Oswald is back on.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we're good, Ron.
Okay, thank you. Somebody like to make a motion to, make it?
I'll make the motion, Ron.
Okay.
Ron, can you restate the motion, please, for me? Thank you.
So we're making a motion to make an offer based on the appraised value of the parcel adjoining the, fire training center.
I'll second it.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Carried. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll proceed down the path to see what we can find. Is there anything else to come to Public Works this evening?
I make a motion to adjourn.
There you go, sir.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I second.
Okay. Have a good Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
See y'all later.
Have a good one. Thank you.